Honorable Mr. Nelson Mandela ji once said, to deny people their human rights is to challenge their very humanity. And that's why we have in our virtual studio today our respectable and honorable human rights champion, respected Shri Arif Aajakia Ji with us. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is your host, Dr Sumant Mishra, and welcoming you all in our show, Aapka Dr Bhaiya and Positive India show. Welcome, Sir Ji. We all welcome you in our virtual studio. Namaskar, Sir Ji.
Namaskar. Thank you very much, Dr. Ji.
So, our brothers and sisters, our friends and colleagues, today's video is very interesting because we are introducing you to respected Shri Arif Aajakia Ji, a leader with Indian ancestry, born in Pakistan, human rights champion, an ex-mayor of Karachi, province of Pakistan, with French nationality and currently based in UK and doing his utmost best to raise awareness about human rights violations and minority rights violations, especially in Pakistan. We have watched many of his videos speaking with brash and bold statements. Namaste and welcome to our channel. Now, brief background about our respected Mr. Shri Arif Ji. He's a remarkable individual with a truly international background, born and in Pakistan and holds French citizenship and currently residing in United Kingdom with Indian origin. Shri Arif Aajakia Ji's roots, coming to the questions, as a human rights champion, what inspired you to work in this field and what are your main objectives? Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Well, I was living in Belgium in early 90s, and I was working in a restaurant and trying to build up my life. Basically born in Karachi, but my parents migrated from India to Pakistan, so we were called Muhajirs in Pakistan. So early 90s, I was contacted by Mr. Altaf Hussain from London. He is the leader of Muhajir's political party, MQM. And he contacted me and he wanted to meet me. When I went to London to meet him from Belgium, I was living in Belgium. He told me that, look, everyone lives their life, but we should do some noble work also. And Muhajirs in Pakistan are facing gross human rights violations. We are facing a genocide. There is a military operation going on in Karachi, Hyderabad, and urban centers of Sindh. And people are not even allowed to speak about it. So people like you and me who are living in abroad, we should raise the voice. So kindly join me, and I will make sure that you can attend United Nations human rights sessions in Geneva and try to lobby on international platforms that what's happening to Muhajirs and how Pakistan army is butchering people. So that's why I started working as a human rights activist. I went to Geneva in 1994 to attend United Nations Human Rights Council session. And since then, I am a regular participant since last 29 years of United Nations Human Rights Council sessions in Geneva. I worked extensively in European Parliament, meeting with different MPs from UK, French parliamentarians, media houses, and the only objective was that when people are suffering, my people, because after all, I was born there, I grew up there, and my people are suffering. At least what I can do for them is to raise voice. And that's my human rights journey started. And even today, I may be working more on social media, but still I'm sending my emails to more than 1,000 people's mailing list I have. I send regular reports on human rights violations in Pakistan. Now since many years, I'm not working only for Muhajirs, but I'm working on different issues of Pakistan, like Balochistan issue, Sindhu Desh issue, Pakhtuns issue, religious minorities issue. And I've also made an organization with some likely minded people called Asian Human Rights Organization, where we target human rights violations in Asia, like Hindus in Bangladesh, like Uyghurs in China, and so on. So I feel that a human rights activist is beyond every kind of boundaries. Uh, uh, human
Excellent.
rights, uh, human rights are always without borders, and
Yeah,
anyone and everyone should speak and work for the betterment of humanity.
excellent. Really inspiring words. Like we have Medicine Sans Frontier, Doctors Without Border. In the same way, you're talking about human rights, Sans Frontier, without border. So it's really inspiring. Our viewers must be inspired by your this statement. So now going on to further queries, if you are working globally with your international background, having traveled throughout the world, as you said, Belgium, and we have other countries as well, Netherlands, I think some Middle East countries as well. So, what are the challenges, strength, weaknesses, opportunity, threats, SWOT analysis you found while dealing with human rights issues globally?
Well, the biggest threat is the biggest terrorist organization of the world, Pakistan Army, because Pakistan Army does not like that anyone exposes them, anyone exposes their brutalities. Right from the beginning, in 90s, when I was going to United Nations, Pakistan used to send their delegation headed by ministers. And I remember that in 1995, a minister of law of Pakistan, federal minister of law, was the head of their delegation. And in cafeterias of United Nations, he many times had discussions with me and offering me many things, that if I will change the boards, then I will join them, to glorify Pakistan as a human rights champion and all these things. I will receive this amount and these facilities and respect and honor in Pakistan. Otherwise, I will be considered a traitor, a Pakistan enemy, and raw agent. And they always got a clear response from me. And in 1996, the very same minister, Mr. Iqbal Haider, he was law minister of Pakistan. When he went back from Geneva to Pakistan in 1996, the headline of Dawn newspaper was that Arif is a true raw agent. So this kind of maligning, my family got pressures there. And since I'm on YouTube and social media, at that time, there was a limited exposure. Only
Yeah,
you make a speech in a council hall, or we
yeah,
meet an MEP, and there was no social media, there was no internet in 90s, and then when
yeah,
internet was there, there was no spread of things, so people did not know what I'm doing. But since this social media, now even a small thing and we put on social media and millions of people can see it. So now they are afraid. So 2016, I was living in London. Uh, Someone called me and said that they want to meet me on a public place if I am afraid. So they met me in central London in a cafeteria. And he said that I am from Islamabad. I belong to ISI. And he started again that आप अच्छा नहीं कर रहे, आपको शर्म आनी चाहिए, अपने ही मुल्क के खिलाफ काम कर रहे हैं, से things like that. And I told him clearly, I said, आप अच्छा कर रहे हैं, आप जो हमारे लोगों को मार रहे हैं, जो पाकिस्तानियों को मार रहे हैं, तो आप बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, खाली मैं ही गलत काम कर रहा हूँ जो मैं आपको नंगा कर रहा हूँ, इस तरह. So like this we kept discussing, and then they knew that I'm not ready to change again. At that time, I was jobless also, and I was in a very financial crisis. And they offered me 100,000 pound sterling right away, and then monthly package and this thing. And at that time, I was in a very much financial crisis, but still I said that I was more than 50 at that time, 52, 53 years old. I said most of my life I have spent and fighting against them. And now at the last moment, why should I surrender? Just for petty benefits. So I again refused, and I remember separately. He told me we were on a traffic signal waiting to open to cross this road, and he said, "आप अच्छा नहीं कर रहे, और हमें इस तरह की बातें सुनने की आदत नहीं है." तो आई टोल्ड हिम दैट भाई साहब आप शायद गलत फहमी में कि हम इस वक्त इस्लामाबाद में नहीं है, हम लंदन में हैं। मैं यहाँ पे सिटीजन हूँ, यहाँ का यूरोपियन सिटीजन हूँ, और आप यहाँ पे एक डिप्लोमेट हैं जिनको इजाजत नहीं है कि आप यूरोपियन सिटीजन से इस तरह पाक मिले। तो खतरे में आप हैं, मैं नहीं हूँ। और बाकी पाकिस्तान में जिसको जो करना है आप कर लें, मेरे फैमिली में से, मेरे रिश्तेदारों में से। तो या देयर आर मेनी थ्रेट्स कमिंग इन, many regular basis. We get emails, Facebook messages, Twitter private messages threatening. For example, recently I received a message from someone. He said that मुजाहिदीन ब्रेडफोर्ड से लंदन पहुंचने वाले हैं और तेरी खैर नहीं है, और तेरी बीवी को हम ये करेंगे, तेरी बेटी को ये करेंगे, और ये वो. So yeah, these things are part and parcel. What this is modus operandi of terrorists always. And Pakistan is the biggest terrorist exporter of terrorists, creates biggest terrorists in the world. Pakistan army is a supporter and nurturer of terrorism, global terrorism. So what do you expect from them? These kind of things.
So big statement coming from you with your own live experiences from the past. Pakistan army is nurturing terrorism. Now, how does your work relate to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? And what are some of the key articles that you focus on?
Well, first of all, when you said that I gave a statement that Pakistan is nurturing terrorism, it's not only me. There are global reports on it. Even sitting Secretary of State of United States, Hillary Clinton, in Islamabad, when she was on visit to Pakistan, she said to Pakistan that when you create snakes in your backyard and you expect that they will bite only neighbors, that's foolish. So even Hillary Clinton said, and who does not know where Osama bin Laden was? Most of the Al-Qaeda and global most wanted terrorists were arrested or killed by United States in Pakistan. Ayman al-Zawahiri, Mullah Umar, Abu Faraj al-Libi, Abu Zubaydah, Khalid Sheikh Umar, you name it, all the list, they were either arrested from Pakistan and killed in Pakistan. And even today, the most recognized terrorists of the world, Hafiz Saeed, Masood Azhar, Dawood Ibrahim, Chawla, they all are wanted by United Nations, by United States, by India, but they are living in Pakistan under the umbrella of ISI. So there are vast numbers of reports and authentic proofs that Pakistan is the hub of global terrorism. Now, my goal is basically to start with is that Pakistan starts respecting not only human rights of its own people, but neighbors also. Because Pakistan is violating the human rights of its own people. It started in 1960s when they were committing genocide and mass rape of Bengali people who were Pakistanis at that time. And finally, in 1971, Bengalis got their own country, creating East Pakistan as Bangladesh. And in remaining Pakistan, there is a military operation going on in Balochistan since last 50 years, more than 50 years. And gross human rights violations are committed by Pakistan Army in Balochistan. Then Sindhis are also asking for their independence as a Sindhu Desh. And being from Sindh, I support this movement. And Pakhtuns are one of the most unluckiest people because they were created as a terrorist. Pakistan army created terrorists within Pakhtuns like Taliban and all these things. And the victim of terrorism in Afghanistan and KPK province of Pakistan were also Pakhtuns. And then Pakistan army used to have operations like one is going on right now. Military operations in Pakhtun areas, again victim was Pakhtuns. So Pakhtuns were facing genocide or atrocities from three quarters. They were branded as international terrorists, and Pakhtun dress and Pakhtun attire, whenever we see, we feel that it is a terrorist. So Pakhtuns are fighting for their struggle. Otherwise, these were the Pakhtuns in British India. They were led by Bacha Khan, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. He was called Saradi Gandhi, and he
Yeah.
was a peaceful, non-violent person.
Yeah.
Still, Pakhtuns have faced these things. So I think my target is for the moment, and what I feel, that the only solution for global peace, for regional peace, and for the peace and dignity of Pakistan is the only solution is disintegration of Pakistan. Pakistan should be divided into four provinces, four countries: independent state of Balochistan, independent state of Sindhu Desh, and Pakhtuns should be allowed to decide their fate. Either they want to join Greater Afghanistan or they want an independent Pakhtunistan. And Punjab should remain an independent state, only Punjab. POK, Gilgit Baltistan, no question, they are Indians, and they are Indian territories occupied by Pakistan, so they should be returned to their mainfold, their motherland, India. And Punjab army is doing all this global terrorism, local terrorism on the money of Sindh and Balochistan, because Sindh and Balochistan are the rich provinces of Pakistan with rich resources. And Punjab army comes from Punjab. So Punjab army is using our resources to wage their terrorism globally. So if Punjab will become independent without Sindh and Balochistan, they even don't have floor to feed their own people. So I think
Yeah.
independent Punjab, landlocked, without any sea, without any navy, it will be a wonderful thing for the region. Afghanistan and India are the biggest victim of Pakistan's terrorism. So disintegration of Pakistan will bring peace and harmony in the region.
Excellent thoughts for our viewers. Now, we are talking about India now. India's old tradition, old culture, and the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam world is a family theory. Now we have seen it during COVID-19 pandemic. We have seen India helping the whole world, and we have seen COVID-19 doesn't know barriers, so it affected all throughout the world. Now, if you talk about human rights, if all these political, geographical, social, economic constraints are there, so what do you suggest? What's your opinion to the world to guide them how to collaborate for human rights issues and some of the best practices in doing that?
Well, my love for India is not only because it is my ancestral place. It is not only because my parents and above them for thousands of years we were born there, we were living there. It is not because India is in my DNA. But it is because it is a great cultural background. It is the great society. It is the great teaching of Sanatana, which can bring peace everywhere. Now, you said what should the international thing should do? I think India has never invaded any other country. India has never looked with malintention to other countries, even its neighbors. India had a great opportunity in 1971 to grab East Pakistan and make it part of, although it was historically India's part, it was part of Bengal. And India had a great opportunity because Bengalis were supported by India to gain independence. India could include Bangladesh into their West Bengal province, but India did not because India always respected international law, international boundaries, international agreements, all these things. You can see that Pakistan is waging terrorism in Punjab of India, in Kashmir of India, yet India is not even supporting a genuine independence movement of Balochistan. You will find all Kashmiri terrorists coming from Pakistan, all Khalistani terrorists coming and supported by Pakistan. But you will not see a single Indian raw person in Balochistan. So India has always been a respectable country. Then India is the oldest civilization. India has a rich history and a rich civilization. When there were no schools in the world, there were universities in India. And India was a center of wisdom globally. People were coming for education here. It is the invasion of 1,000 years that India's potential was killed. Now, again, the very same India is emerging on the global scenario. Everyone is looking at India. And when we see a global propaganda against India, Hinduism, we never heard word Hindutva extremism before 3 or 4 years. Suddenly it has become a global phenomena that there is Hindutva extremism and Hindu terrorism, and Modi is a divisive leader, and this and that. Before 3 4 years, we never. Why suddenly a propaganda? Because they are afraid that the historical potential of India has come back. It needs only one leader. You started your program with a quote from Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was a leader. He changed the history of South Africa. And you need a leader, one leader, and you change course of history. So Modi ji is a great leader, and he has changed India's way of thinking of Indians. India is approaching on international levels with dignity. For example, Russia and Ukraine war, everyone is saying India can stop it. India can stop it. But there were so many wars before Modi ji time, before Modi ji's period. Never anyone said that India can stop Iraq-Iran war or India can stop America-Iraq war or Afghanistan or so, because they never thought that. They said that India is a killed potential, and no. There are dynastic politics in India. There are vested interest of politicians, this and that. But now they know that there is a selfless leadership there. It is taking the country to new heights. So India should be an example for world. First of all, be at peace with your neighbor. Don't indulge in other countries' affairs like America, like China. Now, you see, if you go to recent history, before 75 years, the biggest country on earth was India. British India was so big that Burma was in India, Sri Lanka was in India, Nepal, Bhutan, today's Pakistan, Bangladesh. This was one India. Now today it is half remaining. And there are so many countries carved from this great country. So India, in spite of occupying other people's land, India has given its own land. While China, before 75 years, China was not what it is today. Uyghur, which was called East Turkestan, was not part of China. Tibet was not part of China. Upper Mongolia was not part of China. China has occupied lands. America has waged war on earth in almost in every country. There were 200 military interventions by United States in last 100 years. On average, two per. So the world should take example from India. They don't interfere, don't try to occupy other lands, don't indulge in other countries' affairs. Don't bring your brand of democracy and human rights to other countries while you don't respect your own people's rights of human rights and civil rights, political rights, economic, social, cultural rights. They don't. We see black rights movement in America. We see the miserable situation of Hispanics, original inhabitants of America, the Indians, red Indians they call, the blacks, the Asians. They don't have equal rights there. So this is my point that India should be an example. As you mentioned, during the COVID, the global pharmaceutical companies, their target was to make vaccine, to make kits and protective things and make billions of dollars. But what India was doing was supplying protective kits and protective sanitizers and masks and kits and tests free of cost to poor countries. India supplied millions or hundreds of millions of doses of vaccine free of cost to poor countries, while global pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer and Moderna, they were making billions of dollars out of it. So the best way to go for the world is to look at India, look at history of India, look at the leaders. I would not call them religious persons, because then it becomes that you are preaching a religion. They were leaders, Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, Mahabharata, Ramayana. They are epic examples of how civilization should work.
Thank you very much. Now, because you are a human rights champion and you are talking about India, all the concepts, and you have studied in depth. Now, the recent controversy, one of the gangster, Atiq Ahmed, who had approximately 160 cases, including murder on him, connection with ISI, terrorism, and many things, connection with D gang, Dawood gang. His murder, shoot, this is one of the gun violence, and we have seen many gun violence cases in USA and UK. Now the opposition parties and many of those who are talking against India, they started all of a sudden coming out and accusing the Indian government or the Uttar Pradesh government about failure on the human rights or bullying tactics. And also Atiq's son, gangster Asad's encounter. They have raised questions on the governing abilities. What is your take on this? And do you think this is a violation of human rights? And what do you say to the current UP government, Maraniya respected Shri Yogi Ji?
Well, Yogi Ji is an adarsh. I have heard voices from other states of India that we want Yogi Ji to be our chief minister. Yogi Ji is an adarsh. He has changed the course of UP. UP is becoming a very big economy. The peace is there. Muslim Hindus living in harmony there. We see whenever there is a Hindu festival, there are stone pelting in Gujarat, in Bengal, in Bihar, but you will not see a single event in UP which is disturbed by any kind of things. Now, coming to Atiq Ahmed, a few decades back, Atiq Ahmed's father was a poor man. He could not even serve 3 meals to his children. My question is that Atiq Ahmed is not Mark Zuckerberg. He did not invent Facebook or Apple or anything. How did he go get 11,000 crore rupees property? He never did a business. He never worked. He was an uneducated person. So how did he become so rich? I agree that this was a failure of UP police, because after all, he was in protection of UP police, and they should have avoided this if they had a strict control or a strict plan for his security. There can be many questions on the security failure, but one thing everyone should remember, that whenever there is a murder, the investigation team's first target is that who gets benefit of this murder. Now, a man who has admitted everything, that ISI is in my connection, I am receiving weapons from ISI by drone on the border of Punjab, and he has exposed many things. His son was extrajudicially killed in encounter. But again, encounter happens because when a criminal is surrounded by our security forces and he is asked to throw weapons and he keeps firing on security forces will not throw flowers on him. They will reply with fire. And there are 83,000 criminals arrested by Yogi government. And 100 and some, I think 50 or 60 are killed in encounters. So you cannot say that it is very big number, because 83 are alive, arrested. So his son was killed. He had exposed everything. So his death was creating a negative situation for Yogi Ji. His life was not negative, because the more time he would have been alive, he would have exposed all his sleeping cells, sleeper cells,
Sure.
his connections, that who are the perpetrators of violence in India, like Delhi's Tukra Tukra gang, and many bigger names would have exposed if he was alive. So his death is not beneficial for Yogi Sarkar or India or BJP Sarkar. His death is in fact a loss of Yogi Sarkar. While his death is beneficial for ISI, for Samajwadi Party and Akhilesh Yadav, because he was exposing everything. And the more he would have been alive, the more he would have exposed them. So basically, when you think logically, I think the benefactor is Pakistan's ISI, Akhilesh Yadav, and so on, and Awesi also. So I think it is a clear case. And the biggest thing, I was so appreciative that immediately after his death, Yogi Ji announced a judicial commission to make inquiry. He did not announce a bureaucratic commission led by Babus of UP who were under UP government, under Yogi Ji. He immediately said judicial commission, because judiciary is independent and they will make an independent report. So I think that UP government is at loss because of Atiq's death, Atiq's murder, and Akhilesh and ISI can sleep well now.
So thank you very much. Now, another question about our Muslim brothers and sisters in India. How do you see their growth under the current regime of our respected Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, who is the world's popular leader due to his excellent efforts?
So, in reply to your question about conditions of Muslims in India under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, you know, we have a party called Jamaat-e-Islami in Pakistan. They hire poor civilian children for jihad in Kashmir, in Afghanistan, in Somalia, everywhere. But their children study in America, in England. So they tell to poor families that your son will do jihad and your entire family will be rewarded by Allah. But their own children are not given this privilege, and they send their own children to UK, USA, and Europe for studies. Same thing happens in India. That Avesi, he preaches madrasa education for his, poor Indian Muslims, while his own children, his son-in-law has educated from America. Akbaruddin Awaisis' son has recently done MBBS from California. So this is the story of Indian Muslims. Rana Ayub preaches burqa and hijab, and she tweets this while sitting in a swimming pool of Kerala. And you will see that wearing shorts, and I don't mind any dress, it is her personal life.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it is the hypocrisy that I want to
Hypocrisy.
expose.
Exactly.
But wearing Western dresses and tweeting and preaching that I support hijab. So this is hypocrisy. When I came to India in 2004 to attend Hindustan Times annual summit, my leader Altaf Hussain was a speaker in that conference. So we were living in Moria Sheraton. We were given place in Moria Sheraton. So as a very common Indian, I don't like five-star foods, five-star hotels food. So after 3 or 4 days, I told to Altaf Bhai, I said, Altaf Bhai, खाने में मजा नहीं आ रहा. ये दिल्ली के खाने तो मशहूर हैं. So Altaf Bhai said that go to Old Delhi and
Yeah.
Chandni Chowk. There you will find
Chandigarh, yeah.
authentic food. So when I was going to Chandni Chowk, Altaf Bhai called me and said that, listen, go and see the situation of Muslims of India there and report me back. What did you see? What is the difference from other Delhi, Connaught Place, and this and that place? So when I went there, and then I daily went there for eating because the food was so tasty there. So
Yeah.
I saw small houses, apartments, very old style, wooden windows, and very miserable life of Muslims there. And the first reaction was what? That यार ये इंडिया की गवर्नमेंट है ना, ये मुसलमानों की दुश्मन है, देखो कैसे रखा हुआ है मुसलमानों को, ये वो. First impression comes this. So when I
Yeah.
went back to the hotel and Altaf Bhai said that, हाँ भाई क्या देखा? And I told him what I felt. And he
Yeah.
said, यही मुसीबत है कि इंडिया के मुसलमान लीडर्स हैं ना, they want that their people are living in miserable conditions so they can exploit it and they can continue ruling them.
Yeah.
They will not send their own children to madrasas, but they insist that these children go to madrasa. When living in India or in UK, if my child is sent to madrasa at the age of 4 or 5, what is the first thing Molvi will teach him or preach him? That first of all, you thank Allah that you are born Muslim. Because you are the only correct person on earth. All the non-Muslims are not correct. All the non-Muslims are evil. They will go to hell. Only Muslims will go to paradise. So a 4 or 5 years old child, what becomes in his mind? Superiority complex, hatred against non-Muslims, their own co-citizens. Be it in Pakistan, there are 3% non-Muslims, but still you get hatred against them. You feel them inferior to you. You feel that, how incorrect they are, how foolish they are, this and that. This happens in madrasa education, everywhere. In India, in Pakistan, in England. And I'm against that madrasa education. But Muslim leaders want that their children go to madrasas to get education, to get these kind of divisive things. So, and now coming to Modi ji's period. This happened until Modi ji and then Modi ji's period. People are saying that Modi is a Hindutva extremist leader, RSS, this, that, anti-Muslim. My point is that before Modi, there was so much terrorism in India. There were so communal infights in India. But tell me what happened to all those. After Modi, India is changing. Second thing is that I came to India last year. And I went to my ancestral village, which you introduced in the beginning, Ajak, and I was given a warm welcome. And I was so overwhelmed that I was crying all the time. I stayed 24 hours there. I spent one night there. And Hindu Muslims of that village, there are about 250 inhabitants of that village. They all came there to greet me. There was a dinner in the evening where entire village we sat together. And there I was thinking, where are Hindus? Where are Muslims? I cannot identify. They all look same.
Wow.
And
Excellent.
the second thing I realized that they say that India has caste system and Dalit and Brahmin and this and that. And I was looking like this, 250, 300 people sitting on the ground all together. I was thinking, where are those Bhed Bhav? Where is that Jati? Where is that caste? I could not find. So I asked the Sarpanch who was sitting with me, Prafulla Mishra ji. Prafulla Mishra ji, I said, भाई यहाँ पे कोई ब्राह्मण नहीं है, कोई दलित नहीं है. And he started laughing. He said, no, we all are same. We don't
Excellent.
differentiate into religion, into caste and this and that. There are wrongdoings of Muslim era in India. For example, the greatest university of history, Nalanda University, was burned down by Khilji, Bakhtiyar Khilji. And we have a station, train station named Bakhtiyar Khilji station of that. This is a wrongdoing, because I will never see a train station of Belgium or Poland or Germany called Hitler station. So these are wrongdoings of Muslim era. For example, I went to Mathura because before going, it was my mannat or my wish that I could visit Somnath ji because it was my ancestral mandir, Ayodhya ji, Mathura ji, and Kashi ji. So I could do three. Kashi I could not go. So when I went to Mathura, and when I came out of mandir, and I saw like this, and there was mandir, and the wall joining it had a masjid. Now I started thinking that Krishanji was born here. Krishanji was born here, it is his sthan. And there was no Islam at that time.
Sure.
Because Islam is 1400-year-old.
14 years.
Krishanji is thousands of years old. So I said there was no Islam. So why this masjid on the very place? There can be masjid anywhere. It is not my problem. It is Muslims' right to have a masjid, but on a legal place. I said, this is on Christian sthan. They have a mosque whose tomb is higher than mandir. And I was very sad. Believe me, I was very sad standing there. And my companion, he said, Arif bhai, kya hua? मैं कहा यार कितने दुख की बात है. यहाँ तो मुसलमानों को चाहिए कि वो आके कहे कि भाई साहब इतना जुल्म, हटाओ इस मस्जिद को. It does not deserve to be here. So these are things that Muslims can correct.
Yeah.
Because Ayodhya one is corrected, but not by Muslims, by court, by justice. Here, Muslims should be generous and say that, look, wherever there are wrong places, mosques, for example, occupied by Muslims, mandirs occupied by Muslims and built a mosque there. Please take it away. Same thing is happening in Kashi. Same thing happens everywhere. When I came out of Somnath Mandir, and there is a shoes place where we put shoes. So I went to take shoes, and after putting on my chappal, I saw this, and a little bit far, but there was a Muslim mosque. So there are wrongdoings which should not be done. And Muslims' duty, it is Muslims' duty to correct it. For
Sure.
example, when I was coming to India, and before coming in my YouTube messages, I was saying that I will go to Somnathji, I will go to Ayodhya, I will go to this. One Pakistani sent me a message. He said, तुम सब जगह जाओगे, मंदिरों में, कहीं मस्जिद में भी जाओगे? And I said that I'm looking for a mosque which is legal, because according to Islam, you cannot build mosque on an illegal place, an occupied land, on other places of worship, over other places of worship, and so on. You have to have a legal land. Otherwise, your namaz is haram in that mosque. So I replied him, I said, I'm looking for a legal mosque. If you, for example, Jama Masjid, Delhi, I don't know if it is on a legal place or not. So, but when I went to my ancestral village, it is very small village, and I said that how many, there is mandir or not? They said there are 3 small mandirs. And the Muslim person came to me and he said that there is masjid also. I said that, I asked Sarpanch, I said that इस मस्जिद की जगह पहले क्या था? तो बोला नहीं नहीं, यहाँ के मुसलमानों ने खुद ये जमीन खरीद के बनाई है. तो मैंने कहा then I will go first to these 3 mandirs. I will, because the reason to go to these mandir is that before my father was a Muslim, my grandfather was a Muslim, my great-grandfather was Muslim, but at some point they were Hindu.
Definitely.
And hundreds and thousands of years, we have a history in that village. So I thought that my ancestors who were Hindus, they were going to these mandirs. So I should to go there so that my ancestor's soul is happy that, yeah, someone from our generation has come and repeated the tradition. So I went to this. Then I went to that masjid also. And I said, because my father maybe have his first prayers there, and my grandfather, because my father was born there. So I went to masjid also. So I'm not an anti-Muslim or like this. But I think that there should be tolerance. And Muslims have more responsibility to do this, because Muslims' ancestors, the leaders, the invaders, they committed genocide of this nation. They killed their potential. India had 33% GDP of entire world before invasion. And now we are so behind. So that's why I think that Muslims have more responsibility. And yes, Muslims are progressing in this. I went to UP and I asked some Muslim people, I said that, how do you see Yogi ji? मेरा ख्याल है मुसलमानों के दुश्मन है ना. So he was selling in Lucknow, they had a shop of kurta, a Muslim man. And when जब ये कहा ना, तो he said that, हंसने लगे. He said, यार ये योगी जी ने जितना मुसलमानों के लिए काम किया है ना, किसी ने नहीं किया. योगी जी ने यहाँ पे फ्री घर जो बनाए हैं ना गरीबों के लिए, तो यूपी की पॉपुलेशन इज अबाउट 15 to 16% मुस्लिम, लेकिन 40% घर मुसलमानों को दिए हैं मुफ्त में. एंड यहाँ पे हमारी बहू बेटियां जो है ना, वो महफूज हैं. They feel safe. We have respect and honor in UP under Yogi ji, and Yogi ji has done a wonderful thing. We have more reserve seats for Muslims in UP than other states. So I think that it is a propaganda machinery working. Otherwise, Modi ji and Yogi ji have done wonderful job, and more Muslims are allowed to spread hate speech, like Arfa Khanum and Zubair and Arana, while for Nupur Sharma and Kajal Hindustani are glaring examples. The Hindus are immediately put behind bar for even telling truth. But Muslims are given more freedom. So it's a propaganda against Modi ji, while common in Muslim in India are victim of their own communal leaders.
Yeah, excellent thoughts. Thank you very much. Now, coming to the next question. Lakum dinukum waliya din. Surat al-Kafirun, ayat number 6. For your religion is for you and mine is for myself. Lakum dinukum waliya din. La ikraha fi din. There is no force in deen, in religion. Now, you're talking about human rights as a champion. How about Pakistan human rights for minorities? When we have many cases, the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights says, 2017 report says, on an average, 20 of Hindu girls are abducted every month in Pakistan, converted by force to Islam, and then married off to their abductors. Also, many of the church associations, they say the same thing. United Union of Catholic Asian Nations, Catholic churches, they sort of say about alleged phenomena of something like question mark love jihad, and raise a lot of alert in Catholic churches, saying there is a lot of forceful conversions of Hindus, Sikhs, Christians in Pakistan. What do you have to say on this?
Well, especially this thing is happening in Sindh more, because Sindh is radicalized. Every locality has 2 to 3 madrasas. And, in madrasas in Pakistan, young children, boy or girl, are exploited sexually by Molvi. And it is also vastly reported. So, for example, a boy, when he turns 12, 13, 14, 15, and he is being exploited sexually by Molvis whole his life. And then Molvi convinces him that if you convert a non-Muslim to a Muslim, you are going to paradise. You will gain respect among your society. Now he starts thinking that if my parents will get me married to a Muslim girl, she will have a family. So if I am doing something wrong, the family will stand by her and this and that. So what he does, he kidnaps a Hindu girl. Multiple benefits. First, he rapes her, then forces her to convert, and then forces her to marry. Now, with this marriage, he secured his Jannat. Second thing, he got a prestige, respect in the society that, look, I have converted a non-Muslim to Muslim. Third, he gets a lifetime slave. Because now this girl is Muslim, so she cannot have a contact or connection with her family. So if he tortures her, if he sells her, if he does sex business with her, nobody is going to support this girl because she does not have anyone, because now she is Muslim, so she cannot keep a contact. So this is the basic reason that every boy is trying to target a girl in the area. She is a Hindu girl. Me, 14, 12, 13, kidnap her. So this is the one thing. The second thing, as you said, that Surah Kafirun, Lakum dinakum waliyuddin. There are so many things. Lakum dinakum waliyuddin, ke tumhara din tumhare saath hai, mera din mere saath hai. But there are so many things in Quran that Muslims are not listening or not. They are buying only what they want from Quran.
Like they say, heads I win, tails you lose. Chit bhi meri, pat bhi meri.
Yes,
Twisting the statements as per their needs. Sorry,
ABC,
unfortunately.
American broadcasters, they had a report a few years back, 2-3 years back, that on average there are 3 girls, minority girls, forced converted in Pakistan. Now my question is that if Islam is so beautiful a religion, if Islam is so complete philosophy of life. Why this wisdom is going on in only girls' mind? Why no Hindu boy is converted? On average, if 1,000 girls are converted per year, maybe 5 or 10 boys are converted per year. So how come the light of wisdom is entering only girls' body, not boy? So this is all organized crime, crime against humanity. The forced conversion is the biggest crime. In Constitution of Pakistan, a girl cannot get married until the age of 18. A girl cannot change, girl or boy cannot change their religion until the age of 18. But these minor girls are converted and married by force. They are minor girls. So according to Constitution of Pakistan, it is wrong also. But when the parents or family of that girl goes to police station to register FIR, the officer does not register an FIR because he is afraid that mob will come, attack will police station, fire a police station, my family will be in danger. So first he contacts the madrasa of that boy or girl, where girl was kept or kidnapped by the boy. And madrasa Maulvi says, आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते, अब वो मुसलमान हो गई. Because in Islam, once you are Muslim for lifetime. You cannot change, you cannot leave Islam. The penalty to leave Islam is death penalty. So Maulvi says to police station that आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते, अब वो मुसलमान हो गई है, अब आप इसका कुछ नहीं कर सकते. So the family of the girl gets reply from police that we cannot do anything because they are afraid of the mob. Now, this is illegal because a minor girl cannot convert, cannot get married. They go to court, the family, and say that please order the police station to register FIR. And court says that हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि ये दीनी मामला है और दीनी मामला है, ये मुसलमान हो गए, अब इसको आप कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते. So they don't get justice also in Pakistan. In my opinion, the most oppressed people on earth are Pakistan's minority. I went to Jaipur last year. I was invited by Hindus of Sindh who migrated to India. So they invited me that please come and see our localities. And I went to their camps. And I was so sad because in scorching heat of Jodhpur, in Jodhpur, the children were walking without chappal. They had huts made on a landmine. It was a sandstone mine. So there were some huts. They were living in subhuman condition in India. They were almost illegal. They did not have papers. So they cannot get job. Their children cannot get education. Their family cannot get health care. So I asked I interviewed many people and I asked one man, I said, आप कहाँ से? He said, मैं कराची. मैंने कहा कराची शहर में भी हो रहा है? तो कहता yes. मैंने कहा आपका क्या वहां पे क्या काम करते थे? He said, I had 10 shops. I was owner of 10 shops. I said, then why you had to come here? He said, भाई साहब अपनी बेटी बचानी थी, अपना धर्म बचाना. Or now I feel that it is responsibility of Indian Hindus because there is a problem in Palestine, there is a problem anywhere in Muslim area. Entire Muslims of the world raise their voice. But these Hindus are suffering and Indian Hindus never raise their voice for them. So it is responsibility because Hindus should know that your dharam is saved by these kind of people, right into the history. Because there was invasion since for 1,000 years by Abrahamics. they could all turn in. Now, Egypt was not Muslim. It became Muslim because there was invasion. Syria, Iraq, Turkey, Iran, they all became Muslim. But India, no, because these kind of people who are sacrificing everything to save their dharma, they sacrificed everything at that time also. Now, for example, my community, Memon, I'm from a Memon Kabila. Memons were Hindu, but all of a sudden, Memon were business community. So all of a sudden, about 300 years ago, entire community became Muslim. Now, I asked my elders that what made them become Muslims. They said, Islam ki roshni. Now, after getting studies and all these things, I say bullshit. It was to save jizya because they were businessmen. So they wanted to save jizya because Aurangzeb had jizya on non-Muslims. Jizya is a tax paid by non-Muslims. So I told to myself, I said, all bullshit. There is no wisdom. There is nothing. It is just to save, to get benefit. And they change their religion. But these Muslims of Sindh, Hindus of Sindh, they have, that man, owner of 10 shops, he told me, he said that I had simple choice. I could convert. And after converting, I could become the most respectable person in the society. My daughters will be saved. I will get dignity. My business will be saved. But I wanted to save my dharam. So I left everything. I took my family and I came here. So it is our responsibility, Hindus of India's responsibility, to support Hindus of Pakistan.
Thank you very much for the detailed conversation on this. Now, again, talking about Pakistan's economic situation. Through various news medias, we see a lot of commotion, a lot of news about worsening economic situation in Pakistan. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, the army of Pakistan is looting everything. Pakistan is a poor country. Pakistan's leaders are the richest people in the world. There are housing colonies of retired Pakistan officers in Canada. Housing colonies. Name me one retired army chief of India who lives abroad. And name me one retired army chief of Pakistan who lives in Pakistan. General Kiani lives in Australia. General Rahil Sharif lives in Saudi Arabia. General Bajwa lives in London. So, and now, coming to comparison, name me one or two Indian Army brigadier, general, colonel, major, captain, whose children are studying in Oxford, who has properties in Europe, America, Australia, Canada. And in Pakistan, a general, major, brigadier, they have properties everywhere. Their children are studying outside. One example I will give, Asim Salim Bajwa. He comes from a poor family, joins Pakistan Army, reaches to the status of general. And when he retires, his family was billionaire. His teenage son were billionaire, owning more than 200 outlets of Papa John's in America.
Wow.
More than $1 billion property in America. And his children were teenagers. Nobody questions him. Another man who is currently Corps Commander Balochistan, Asif Ghafoor, General Asif Ghafoor, comes from a poor family. His 3 children were studying in Europe. Now, my question is that In Europe, one student average expenses per year is about $50,000. Lodging, boarding, food, life, and college fees, etc., and hostel rent and these things. $50,000. 3 children means $150,000 per year. Now tell me, $150,000 is Pakistan's 4 crore रुपया. नहीं, 40 crore रुपया. A general salary is 25,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 rupees. 1 लाख रुपया लगा लो महीना, 12 लाख रुपया साल. कहां से दे रहा है भाई? So it is looted very badly, this country. So लूटने से तो फिर सब कुछ ही खत्म हो जाता है. So Pakistan's economy, the main culprit is Pakistan army. Then Pakistan's economy, because India is exporting many things. Even Apple, so mobile is exported by India now. Mercedes electric car entirely made in India. Pakistan exports only terrorism. Pakistan army is busy in proxy wars in Iran, in Afghanistan, in India. So my take is that your economy cannot sustain these kind of things. A country called agriculture-based country, the most fertile land of British India were given to Pakistan. And it is obliged to import dal, atta, and food grains. So there is everything wrong done by Pakistan's ruler, and Pakistan's rulers right from beginning are army. Most of the time directly through martial laws, otherwise indirectly through bringing puppets like Imran Khan, Shehbaz Sharif, Nawaz Sharif. Even Benazir Bhutto, she became 2 times prime minister with an agreement of army. First time when she became prime minister in 1988, army asked her to have foreign minister from Ziaul-Haq's foreign minister. Sahibzada Yaqub Khan was Ziaul-Haq's foreign minister, and Benazir was obliged to keep that foreign minister. And Benazir Bhutto was not allowed. She has mentioned this in different interviews, that she was not allowed to take decision on 5 things: atomic power, military budget, Afghanistan issue, relationship with India, relationship with United States. So she was not allowed on different issues to take decisions. Military has ruled directly or indirectly this country, and they are responsible for every economic disaster, social disaster. Today the society is very low, very low. Anybody can kill anybody on the name of Islam, on blasphemy. I can say, oh, Dr. Sumant, मैंने देखा उनको कुरान फाड़ते हुए. Everyone will gather and they will kill you, they will burn your body and everything. शिया सुन्नी को मुसलमान नहीं मानता, सुन्नी शिया को मुसलमान नहीं मानता, सब एक दूसरे की नजर में काफिर हैं. सिंधी, बलोच, पख्तून, पंजाबी, सराइकी, मुहाजिर, बरोही, Kashmiri, Gilgiti, Balti, divided on ethnic grounds, divided on languages, totally destroyed society, destroyed economy. Politically, you can see that there is no rule of government anywhere in Pakistan. Politically, they are divided. Independence movements are going on in Balochistan, Sindh, and Pakhtunistan. I think Pakistan is nearing its logical conclusion. This country was created by America and UK for some purposes, which is a detailed debate again. And now I think Pakistan has become a big burden on them also, because Pakistan has average Pakistan has to pay back the loans an average of 25 to 30 billion dollar a year. Now, who can invest such a huge amount in Pakistan? That is only for repayment of loans from Saudi Arabia, China, and private banks. Repayment of loan and interest. What about LCs, imports? You need dollars for imports also. Your everything comes from abroad. Gas, electricity, gas, petrol, diesel, food grains, pharmaceuticals, weapons, everything comes from abroad. You need dollar for that also. You need dollars to pay your salaries, your expenses, your huge white elephant, which is army, which takes more than 50% budget. So Pakistan has become a burden. So I think Pakistan is very rapidly marching to its logical conclusion.
Thank you very much, sir, for the nice, extensive, detailed versions. Now, coming to the world's most popular leader due to his excellent efforts, who gave the slogan "Sabka Saath," inclusion and involvement of everyone, "Sabka Vikas," growth of everyone, "Sabka Vishwas," trust of everyone. And on 15th August 2021, he added "Sabka Prayas," everyone's efforts. Our own honorable, respected Indian Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, he has done a lot of efforts for all society. And also, talking about Indian brothers and sisters, they say one hand Quran, second hand laptop for the modernization of the and the growth, progress of Indian Muslims, brothers and sisters who were exploited by the name of vote earlier, during earlier days, as you cited in your own example in 2004. So, how's your take on our current Indian Prime Minister, Honorable Shri Narendra Modi ji?
Well, I think that in Sanatan we have a belief that we get avatars. And Modi ji is an avatar of this period. भगवान का वरदान है वो. Or the best thing happened to India after 1947 is Modi ji. ये नहीं है कि I am in love with Modi ji because of his beautiful face or personality. It is his deeds, what he has achieved, what he has done for the nation, for the country. It is incredible. 2008, India was, I think, not in top 15 economies of the world. India will be third biggest economy in 2027. India is already number 5. Why? Look, there was always potential in India. Why India was not in top 10 economies before 2014? It is not that Modi has brought money from his home and invested in India. No, he has exploited that potential of Indians and used it in a better way, in a more advanced way. Then India was considered a country in Russian bloc all the time. Never ever any say in international affairs or any other things. We were following some camp. Now, India is asked by America to follow American lines on Ukraine-Russia war. And we saw the reply from Shri Jaishankar ji that we are neither in this camp nor in that camp. We have our own camp. He was said that why India is buying petrol from Russia, cheap petrol. And Shri Jaishankar ji said that we are not taking decisions for the benefits of America or Russia. We are looking at 1.4 billion Indians, and we have our priority of benefits of our own people. So I think Modi ji has changed the course of life, course of history of India, and credit should be given to him because after all, it is the same India before Modi and after Modi. Before Modi, there were hardly any one or two CEOs of Indian origin of global corporate sector. Today, there are dozens of CEOs of international corporates like Google, like Microsoft, like you name it, and all this. Even World Bank president is an Indian origin. These are the same Indians who were there Indian before Modi ji also. But he has brought the opportunities for Indians. There are five important sectors of global economy: weapons, pharmaceutical, food grains, energy, and IT and computers. India is self-sufficient in five. Energy, I won't say self-sufficient, but India has biggest, largest, and most important refineries, oil refineries of the world. And India is getting petrol, gas, diesel on very cheap rates from Middle East also, from Russia also, Iran also, Venezuela also. This is happening because of Modi ji, his leadership. So Modi ji is a Vardhan, he's an avatar, and biggest thing is that we see scams, financial scams, corruption scandals. Top 10, all are before Modi ji. Nirav Modi, he did all the corruption, all the wrongdoings in Congress era and ran away. Vijay Mallya ran away. And they all ran away in Modi period because they were afraid that they will be apprehended. Lalit Modi, Nirav Modi, Choksi, Mallya, they all did wrongdoings in Congress era and ran away in Modi era. I don't say that India is corruption free. Maybe India has very deep corruption issues. Policemen, a traffic havaldar, a file passing in a government office, small, but the bigger leaders' corruption has disappeared. Your prime minister is not corrupt. Now, for example, if 100,000 corruption, 100,000 rupees corruption, always the largest share goes to top. So 20,000 goes to prime minister. Then a small officer will do corruptions in thousands, lakhs, crores, maybe 1 crore, 2 crore. At prime minister level, there are lakh crore, 100,000 crore, 2 lakh crore, 5 lakh crore. This is level of corruption which happens, which is not happening. Your biggest state, UP, is run by a sadhu, a yogi. You cannot expect corruption. You see the families of Yogi Modi and you say that ये corrupt नहीं हो सकते. We saw Modi ji's mother living in a simple small house, simple life. Modi ji has no properties, no foreign bank accounts, nothing at all. Yogi ji, we saw his mother, his sister, his father when died, very poor conditions. So corruption is not happening. The five bigger sectors, pharmaceutical, arms, food grains, energy, India is exporting things. India is importing petrol from Russia, exporting to other countries. India's pharmaceutical is, global pharmaceutical giants like Pfizer and Moderna and all, they are afraid. They have fear of Indian pharmaceuticals because the Ayurveda and historical things of India, they are afraid that India will overtake every pharmaceutical issue in the world. Then food grains. India is the biggest exporter of grains, dal, chawal, gandum to Middle East. Iran is the country that uses most rice, and their 40% import of rice is from India. Saudi Arab, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, Oman, Bahrain, they all import 30 to 40% requirement of their grains, dairy, butchery from India. And then India has BRICS. India is member of BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This bloc has 42% of global GDP. This bloc has 40% of military power of the world. So India is changing because of Modi ji. Otherwise, it was same India in 2014 also. It is same India, but the India has changed. And that is because of leadership, and leadership is important.
Thank you very much for such explaining it so deeply. Our viewers must have been enlightened by your insights and various topics. Now we are coming to the conclusion of our show. Again, we are talking about our current Prime Minister, Honorable Shri Narendra Modi ji, he who has the penchant of awarding Padma Awards and say them as People's Award. And very recently, we have seen trends of this award going to many non-Indians who have done a lot of exemplary works outside India and promoted Indian ethos, culture, tradition, and truth about India. On your level, we have seen you are a public figure, human rights champion with millions of followers. You have done a lot of activities promoting Indian culture, the truth about India, and you had dispelled a lot of misinformations about India and made people all over the world aware about the truth. How would you react to a prospective potential of you being a Padma awardee?
Well, honor is an always honor, but I think I have got such a huge respect, love, trust, and support from my Bharatiya Parivar. Because what I am doing is not something for a reward or something for a return, but I am doing all these things because I think that there was so much wrong done by my community to my country. First of all, my community, that the community that I was born in and that I belong to, they created, they divided India, and they created a separate country from my Matra Dharti, which was the biggest crime on humanity, because this great country was divided on religious lines, two nation theories. There is no nationhood in Islam. We are Indians. Now, for example, if one from my ancestors changed his religion, I became another nation. I was Indian. There are every faith in globe. You will find it in India. Be a Parsi, be a Jew, be a Christian, be a Muslim, Sikh, Buddhist, Jain. Every religion you will find in India. That does not make India different nations. They all are Indian. But we were divided on the name of religion. Then, so I'm doing it to compensate maybe that what's wrong done. Then, for example, uh, when I came to Belgium, I was 26-year-old and sitting with my friends, Pakistani friends. And one friend said that, यार history में तुम्हारा सबसे अच्छा favorite hero कौन है? And I said Mahmud Ghaznavi, because I was taught like this. But when I started human rights work and I got engaged with free education and true history, and the first thing shockingly came in front of me was that Mahmud Ghaznavi looted Somnath 17 times, which was making me proud. And the realization was that my ancestral village was not far than 50 kilometers from Somnath. And first thing I realized when I was sleeping on that night, I could not sleep. I was feeling ashamed because I realized that it means that Mahmud Ghaznavi 17 times came to that area. He killed my ancestors. His army raped
Yes.
my ancestral women. My ancestral women and children were kidnapped, enslaved, and sold in the bazaars of Ghazni, Baghdad, Damashq. And that realization, I was shaking. I said that how foolish I was, that I was considering the murderer, the violators of my ancestral land and people. I was considering him as a hero, and I could not sleep that night. So it was ever since it was my wish that one day I could go to Somnath, stand in front of Shivalinga of Somnath, and shed some tears to say to Somnath ji that yes, it was our mistake. It was our ancestors' mistake, and I'm here not to correct, but just to give my apology and give my commitment that I will keep working for this nation, this civilization, these people. So I'm not doing for anyone else, I'm doing it for myself, my promise to my ancestors. And the biggest award is that when I wake up in the morning and I open my email, there are always some 10, 12 emails, people appreciating my work, supporting me. There are so many messages coming in. People are watching my videos. What else one can expect? So this is the biggest award. Now, Padma and these things, they are so big. I don't feel that I qualify for them because there are hundreds of thousands of so noble Indians. They are doing so big karya and big work around the world. For example, there is a man working in a small village in India for the betterment of his people on ground, fighting the exploitive sarpanch or chaudhry or a very corrupt leader or these things. They are doing better than me. I'm living in my London home in a safe atmosphere, speaking in front of my camera is much smaller than one who is doing things on ground. And there are hundreds of thousands of Indians doing these things who deserve much more than what I am getting.
Thank you very much, Sister. Gratitude. Of course, you're above all these awards. Now, coming to the final message for our viewers, for our brothers and sisters who are watching you through the world, for the media personnel, how you motivate them about promoting and protecting human rights as a final message to them all. Thank you.
Well, if we can do anything to protect human rights of human beings, we should do. The least we can do is raise our voice for them. Wherever we see human rights of human beings are violated, the least we can do is raise our voice. If we cannot do anything, at least tweet. We have opportunities to raise our voice in different ways. Before social media, everyone had to come to streets to shout. to scream. But now you have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have YouTube, you have Instagram, you have LinkedIn, you have every platform, and you can shout, you can raise your voice for the betterment of human beings. Human beings deserve every good thing in this world, and they don't get it. The world is so selfish now. The world is, I'm talking about the exploitative powers, the capitalist. I'm not against a rich person, but I'm against the wrongdoing of a rich person or small poor person. Anyone doing wrong thing, anyone trying to destroy humanity. So every human being has a duty to raise at least voice. And if we raise voice in millions and then billions, then people get afraid. The exploitators, the one who are doing wrong, they get afraid. People in large numbers, when they raise voice, people in small numbers doing wrong things are obliged to change their things. So, and if you cannot even raise your voice, at least forward the people's message who are raising their voice, so that the message goes on, and more message goes on, better and better human life on earth.
Thank you very much for the extensive conversations with us and enlightening our viewers on various topics, especially about human rights. And we appreciate your crucial time, your valuable time. And on behalf of the viewers of Positive India, Aapka Dr. Bhaiya, I, Dr. Sumant Mishra, thank you. My sincere gratitude from heartfelt gratitude from the heart. Thank you. Bahut bahut dhanyawad. Thank you very much. We'll be in touch with you. And God bless you with all the power and positive feelings. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you very much for honoring me with this platform and these words. And I will always be thankful. Thank you, every viewer and my supporters. Thank you very much. Jai Shri Ram. Jai Hind.
Jai Shri Ram. Jai Hind.